Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crying is a Free Action podcast, a podcast about news and politics in our home states, in the United States, and around the globe. We call it Crying is a Free Action because we like tabletop games, and in tabletop games, you get a lot of actions. Sometimes you get a move action or an attack action, and a free action is something you can do like shout a taunt at an opponent or warn an ally. And we're here to remind you that you can also cry as a free action. I like to do it in the shower. Saves time. I'm here joined this week with as always, with Al and Tommy. Al, how are you?
I still exist.
That's good. We like that. Tommy, how are you?
Doing great.
Excellent. And we have a special guest with us this week. He is a military insider, is I think what we'll go with. And we're joined by Taylor. Taylor, thank you for being here with us again to talk about ongoing things. How have you been?
Good.
Excellent. So we're actually going to start with... Oh my god. There we go. We're actually going to start with maybe some lighter something, because we want to talk about some tabletop stuff and some good old-fashioned card games and whatnot and such. So, Tommy, start us off, buddy.
All right. So, biggest news that's been going on for like the past month. The Final Fantasy set is the hottest set of all time, and it's almost impossible to find any of these dang cards anywhere.
Yes.
How is it going? Yep. Over here in Florida, we do have quite a lot of LGSs and stuff, and a lot of them are sold out. Or some have kept them to such extraordinarily high prices still. You know, they just keep a couple boxes here for a draft. How's it looking over in your area?
We sell it basically retail-ish price. We're sold out. And, of course, you know, this was the most money my store has ever committed to a Magic product, or any product, honestly. And it paid off in spades, obviously. We got a small we were lucky enough to get a small restock in the middle of the week of just like booster boxes, but they were gone within a day, and so we have nothing. We have nothing right now, like literally nothing. So, and what I can tell you that my distributors told me about a restock was they said July maybe.
Oh,
And that's more information than we usually get. So, July maybe. And that's like play boosters, and like
like these featured here.
Yes.
Like the play boosters here, there's gonna be featured, you know, at Parallax Games. Yep, coming in July.
Coming in
we also
July,
got
maybe.
We also got how about starter sets? These starter kits.
These starter decks are fantastic. First of all. At Parallax Games, when we have them in stock, and we will have them again, they're $19.99. The Cloud in that deck is like $12 on his own or some stupid thing like that. Just equipment is hot right now, you know. So yes, and they did a good job on the packaging. They did a really good job on that set. But also, we have Edge of Eternities coming up soon.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we do. I guess I might have that. So I can probably pull that up real quick. Edge of Eternity.
I have the vehicle announcement up because they literally put the 4 perfect vehicles in one line on this. So if you didn't know, in Magic the Gathering, your commander usually has to be a legendary creature or something else that says this can be your commander, so a planeswalker or whatever. They are now changing it so that legendary vehicles and spaceships can be your commander, which is hilarious.
So this is definitely one where these are definitely just Universes Beyond cards, but I'm loving the idea of recreating the RMS Titanic commander. So we just keep slamming the Titanic into people's faces.
2 players,
and then
correct.
And then it just explodes.
And so I have 4 cards up there. The Jackdaw, which came out of the Universes Beyond Assassin's Creed. And I think there's something there with that. I think there's something there with that being your commander. I haven't figured it out yet. Parhelion 2, a Pioneer Graveyard staple, which is terrible in Commander, and you shouldn't play it probably. unless you have a way to sneak it out of your graveyard. But that would be a bad commander. That'd be pretty bad.
Pretty expensive.
Pretty expensive. And then you have Shorkai, who could already be your commander, and he is very good. And Tommy touched on the Titanic, which is hilarious. So this is going to be a good change, I think, for commander. I was literally, a customer told me, he was like, "Did you hear about the rule change in commander?" And I was like, thinking about, because in Yu-Gi-Oh they just had a really bad rule change that they had to walk back. So I was like, oh God, are we getting one of those? But no, this was Magic doing a good thing.
Don't worry, you wait till I get my vehicle deck, they'll walk it back.
Good.
You're Shorkai.
Exactly.
I already have him in a blue deck, a commander deck that's a pre-made Precon, where there's like a, I forget which set it's from.
The Kamigawa, right?
Yeah, the Kamigawa one, yeah.
Yep, that deck is awesome. I love that deck. Do you guys keep up with Pauper at all?
A little bit. It's popping off on my store, but it's not on a very convenient date for me. I know they just banned all that glitters like a while back.
Yeah. And so that makes sense, honestly. And so I keep up on Pauper. We have a few like competitive Pauper players who win a lot of like online tournament stuff around. And so but they're just like, we're gonna finally start running it weekly, maybe by like twice weekly. And so I've been up on the meta, and like Sneaky Snacker, this little blue-black fairy that you just pitch, and then you can just get it out of your graveyard, is like a 2/1 flyer, and I ordered like 16 copies. That's how good this card is in Pauper.
Yeah, that one there is definitely, Sneaky Snacker
needs to be banned.
My commander. It's good enough for commander. It's good enough for. It's definitely better good for.
Yeah.
Yep. And the last thing about the vehicles, I was like, I do see there's the Falcon, so I can make my Hindenburg reenactment. Yeah. So it's Reanimator. So I'm excited about that. Yep. I guess moving on. I guess we got and probably like what, August, I think, Age of Eternities, right?
Edge of Eternities.
Edge of Eternities.
We know so far we're gonna have enemy shocklands in that set, which is exciting.
Another big change. This is a fun one. I mean, for some people, they're getting rid of the art card out of play boosters. These nice, pretty art cards. Oh, look at that! Like right here, these are from. These are definitely only showing up only in collector boosters only. It's only going to be a double-sided tokens from now on.
Here, show that again.
Oh, here. You want a Zidane?
Oh yeah. Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, these are the art cards that used to be. Yep. But they're going away from play boosters. So
so they're only going to be in collector boosters then, you said?
Yeah. Yep. Well, only collector boosters.
That may increase their value. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. On one hand, I have always complained that So there's an old Mark Rosewater, who's the head designer and ad hoc head of PR for Magic the Gathering, has always been like, Magic players won't be happy until there's a crisp $20 bill in every pack. And so I always try to think about everything with that in mind, because that's a really good piece of wisdom. And I'm just like, but also you're literally just putting a little ad in there and like this like non-playable token thing, like that could be a common. And that would be a playable card. Even if it was a common, I think it would still be an upgrade. The problem is they're probably just going to pull it out and not put anything in there, and then play boosters will be weird 13 card packs or whatever.
So the thing is, like, the art cards are definitely really popular among very casual fans. So at least that was what I saw at the Taylor and I. We both went to the same kind of pre-release and met other people, I guess. And people love their art cards. You know, there's a lot of players just returning to Magic because they just love the universes beyond Final Fantasy stuff. So, and I saw some guy was super excited. I'm like, he pulled his little art card of, I don't know, one of his princesses or whatever. That's how much I was paying attention.
It was probably our friend Dan, if anything. No, we have. I would say that's definitely true because you have people who are not big Magic fans. They were just big Final
Sure.
Fantasy fans,
Sure. Yeah,
and they were
absolutely.
really, really into that. And I think you're gonna have that anytime you have a Universes Beyond, like Tommy's saying.
And I think that it makes sense to have them in the Final Fantasy because even I wanted them. And normally, like when art cards first came out, I was like, I'm gonna collect all of these. These are awesome. And then when they were like in every single set, I was like, never mind, these are garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy I got my Yuna here, so Final Fantasy X was my favorite.
So also going back to the Final Fantasy thing, I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I think many people are. We're keeping all of them and like collecting some, and I do collect some other ones because they make great tokens.
Oh yeah.
So, I have so many cool sliver ones from like Modern Horizons because they make great tokens. So that's what I try to do with them now. Is either give them to people who collect them, turn them into tokens, or line a bird cage with them. So
whichever comes first.
Do you guys have Edge of Eternities? My business partner and I are really excited for it because it's like sci fantasy space stuff, and that is like my bread and butter wheelhouse.
Oh yeah.
A friend of mine said they should put Space Jason all of the precons for Edge of Eternities, and I said they don't have the guts.
Space Bellerin is such a nightmare card to play against.
It sure is. It really is bad, but also like,
oh, it's so good.
Makes me want to scoop. Yeah.
Yep. They also come out with 2 different commander decks. I saw, I saw the words proliferate.
Yep.
I love proliferate, and then I saw it looks like Jund graveyard lands.
The Jund one is graveyard lands, landfall probably, and then the Jeskai one is like artifacts proliferate, which those are like the 2 decks I play, so that's great.
Yep. So it is a great time. I think, I'm not that big a fan of space stuff. This is, but I think this is definitely a great. So,
I think they're going to treat it with the amount of reverence it needs, which is like hurtling Yargle through space.
Yeah, so, I could definitely see like if it's like a Spelljammer style kind of thing.
Oh, that's
maybe.
Definitely what they're going to do. Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be magic in space kind of thing. So, the only
and Eldrazi's. We all love Eldrazi's. Come on.
I'm not an Eldrazi guy. I'm not an Eldrazi guy. I'm not a fan.
Big Cthulhu like abominations.
Yeah,
oh hell
they're
yeah!
Like they're half measures. Like some of that, like there's Kozilek is cool. I think Kozilek is cool. But anyways, the only other bit of like traditional gaming I want to talk about is Daggerheart is out-ish. Daggerheart, if you didn't know, is the new Critical Role tabletop RPG system. And it seems great. And I have a bunch of customers asking about it, and I also want to play it, and I am having trouble getting my distributor to answer my calls on if it's coming or not. So that sucks, but I'm going to get copies of it one way or another for me and my customers. So I'm excited.
So is it just like a set of books like the way you would have
so right now it's
like
one
edition
book.
Or something, or
it's one book and
okay.
a set of cards and a set of dice for $59.99.
Okay.
And it's basically your player's handbook, your DM's guide, and your monster manual all in one book, like a core book kind of thing. So
gotcha.
Critical Role, I am kind of neutral on them. Like they're all cool people who put out cool things. Sometimes their fandom and fan base is pretty toxic. But they know how to run a business and put out a product properly. So they will have my respect eternally. Honestly, like their products were, they verified who's selling them. You can't be some shitty reseller. Can't be some scalper. You have to sign like paperwork that's like, yeah, like listen, if you are cool but then are not cool, we're gonna pull your shit from you. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then they're like, their stuff was in stock, available, and like came out when it was. This is a problem with my distributor, and the problem with the distributor is now we get to get into the news because we have all sorts of other distribution problems because shipping's fucked and prices are fucked. So
that's fair. Yeah.
So as a reminder, we are the team behind EasyVoteNorthDakota.com. So EasyVoteND.com, EasyVoteND.com. I own too many domains. Help me help myself. Buy more domains. Like, we could also do this one. How about HotGayParallax.com? You could go there. That is a real website that you can go to, and you should. And it's fine. Help me buy more domains.
How was that one not already taken?
Believe it or not, I've owned that for quite some time.
Okay, fair enough.
The other hot gay stuff was already taken, so this is already just like number 7.
I think I also own HotGayParallax.bike. Because they were like, you want this one for $1.99? I'm like, yes, I do.
Yeah. It's a good domain.
I've definitely got a pair of Hot Gay Parallax hanging in my closet.
Ooh,
whenever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I like it. All right. Please go to the website. We got some stories we're working on. I have some other stuff. You can always go to the media podcast. You can go to the media page, the resources page. We got some stuff there for you. Oh yeah. There's this picture of Tezzeret. I forgot. There's a new Tezzeret. He looks sick.
The man is mostly robot by now.
Yeah, he's having a tough time.
As we all should be.
Oh, that's how I want to look when I retire.
Yep, he's piloting the ship. Yep, on the Great Spelljammer. Let's go. So, ship's captain. Let's go.
Right. All right. Let's get into the real stuff. Sadly, like we predicted, these ICE raids and mass arrests and incarcerations have led to a in-custody death. Al, you had been commenting on this earlier, so you know more than I do. Would you like to take this one?
Sure, but this was shared by one of our friends that a gentleman was taken into ICE custody and basically passed around with a system within the system from state custody to private companies that own all these processing facilities. And the guy died while on transport to another facility. And he had been given a bunch of medication that I think 2 of them were for like blood pressure, another one was an antibiotic. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them has some sort of sedative properties, because he was probably not happy to be where he was. And yeah, the guy died while in custody.
Yeah.
And the family wasn't notified until after the fact, and then it was by the Mexican consulate in the U.S.
Jesus. So I read I skimmed the article. I'm going to go back and reread this later because there's a lot there, and I think you should go find this article. But
yeah, it's a lot because, like I said, this was
scary.
A situation where the guy got got fucking arrested by ICE.
And
then
he's 69 years old.
Yeah, he's been here for like 40 years.
Yeah. And so, his son went to visit him in one of.
No, they actually kept denying the family visitation.
Right.
So they would respond with just visitation denied.
Right.
And then once the son was eventually able to go visit him, they rolled the guy up on a wheelchair when he had never used a wheelchair.
Yeah. And he
couldn't talk. He couldn't.
And shit on,
yep.
On like sedatives, probably.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised if everything that they were giving him.
Like in some places, in some jails, if you start acting up. Well, hang on. Acting up. They'll just pump you full of Ativan. And that shit can kill you and fuck you up. That is a life-saving drug, only to be used for people going through like DTs and stuff. But oof, they use it as chemical restraints a lot. This is a sad, predictable outcome that we basically said was going to happen. And the first thing I said when I saw that picture was, yeah, he sure looks like a criminal, doesn't he? No, he looks like some nice old dude that I can't wait to talk to in the food court at the mall when I sit down.
Yeah, so does the I guess my question is, like, when you're like transporting prisoners and all these kind of things, don't they have like the rights, prisoners have like kind of rights for like safe passage or whatnot?
Well, you're talking about in the legal sense that these are being transported from prison to prison that is governed by the state.
Physically transported from facility to
yeah,
facility.
but you gotta remember that this is a private company doing the transporting, not like it wasn't like a county jail.
And so if you guys have, so I actually worked for a state prison for like a decade, and I would say for probably 3 years I did maximum security hospital transports. So between the prison and hospitals, I took inmates, and we had protocols and procedures and things for that. To ensure safety. And I had extra medical training, and to transport inmates, you have to be certified with a firearm and stuff, and because I was a police officer, like, it was way easier and all that stuff, so I was a natural fit. But, like, you have to, like, it's not nothing. Like, there was a reason they picked, like, people who had more training to do this shit at the state prison, but we also have a better prison system than, I would say, I don't know, 98% of the entire world. So we're a good bar to look at to be like, this is what we should do, but nobody does that. And so these in custody deaths like this is going to be more and more common, because a lot of these places are just like pop-ups, essentially, where they're like, okay, we can buy this building, and then this company will come in and put a bunch of fucking security doors on all the rooms, because they're already made out of cinder blocks. It's fine. And so they look like all these youth detention facilities and like transition centers and shit like that is what they call them. And there's almost no oversight. There's almost no inspection or anything like that, because people are only there temporary. They're only there for like 40 days at most, and nobody's there that long. No, they're there for months, because nobody's got bed space. That's the real answer. So, and they're not equipped, and they're understaffed, and the staff are underqualified, and there's no oversight, and the people in charge only want money, because they want that fat contract money from ICE.
Yep, that's the gist of it. They want that fat contract from DHS, which is why you have instances like the Congress people from like New Jersey and whatnot wanting to get in and inspect these places, and all these people are being told no.
Yep.
And then you get shit like this.
So to kind of keep connecting the dots here, this is where that congressperson was arrested, was trying to inspect one of these facilities.
No, that was the mayor. That was the mayor that was arrested, and then that was the mayor of that town, and then it was the two I think Congress members from that district that got charged with dumb shit.
Right.
But nothing ended up happening to them.
Right, because there was no crime committed.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
And these news of these kind of situations keeps popping up everywhere, right? So like, because recently I just found out that in a Texas family detention center, kids are fighting, adults are fighting children for clean water.
Yeah.
Right. So here's a thing from AP News. I'm going to switch over to mine. Right here. So new insight into family detention center. Yep. Feels adults fighting for clean water. There's going to be kids with swollen kids. There's denied medical exams. These are just first-hand accounts from this. I mean, this is happening all over our country right now. These kind of things, because they're trying to, rush and get all these people out of here for this, for the cheapest buck possible. It's just hurting people. So it's,
You know what was crazy though is I had a thought. I was like, you know what? I did so many transports, and like I wanted to work for the U.S. Marshals and do transports and all that kind of stuff. Like that was my bread and butter. I love doing it. I love driving and stuff. I was like, fuck, I could start one of these companies and do it right and make actual money and treat people with respect. But they don't want that.
No, they don't want that. They just want things to be done as cheaply as possible.
Absolutely. And, well, I know how to do it cheap. I've done it for 10 years. It's not hard. That's the real answer. That's a whole other podcast.
Yep. One mother was told that they have to use tap water for formula for a 9-month-old, which is pretty bad. We don't get enough. This is a report from, I guess, a 6-year-old girl. We don't get enough water. They put out a little case of water. Everybody runs for it. An adult here even pushed my little sister down to get the water first. So this is terrible. Yep. So, welcome to, I guess, welcome to America, folks.
Bruh.
The same one with the little boy with the cancer, right? Missed a doctor's appointment because the family got arrested. There's that kind of crap going on. Oh my god. I just can't
Holy shit.
Yeah, so, yeah, this should make you mad.
We should be outraged.
I mean, I'm outraged right now.
Yeah.
If you take a look at Al's face right now, you can see him boiled over.
That's right.
But yeah, so this is bad. So jeez. I can't read this anymore. Not right now.
Yeah.
I got other things to read that make me more mad.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Mamad Khalil. I love this guy because he is a tried and true activist, and he is not going to be put down. He is going to live his life. I'm really following him. He has finally been released. I'm going to play this little news story from this NBC News affiliate.
A judge has ordered pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil be released on bail. The 30-year-old lawful permanent resident was being held in a facility in rural Louisiana. Khalil played a prominent role in last year's Columbia University protests against the Israel-Hamas war. He was arrested in March by immigration agents. He has not been charged with a crime and does not have a criminal record. Let's bring in NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley with the latest. So, Julia, how did the judge...
Let's see. I want to go to the part where he speaks finally, because I've had an. All right.
That Khalil would be a flight risk, and that of his
visa. Gonna not have him talk. God damn it.
Also,
I don't want to hear a white woman talk about it. I want to hear his words. Anyways, our friend Mamad Khalil is out. Thank God. And he is...
Wait, hold up. Look at that fucking comment. At the very top of that fucking video. If I went to China and on a fucking... Are you fucking serious? This dude is not here on a fucking visa.
Also, at the heart of this...
Red 1952. Okay.
Okay, Boomer. We got
yeah,
you. We're
pretty
here,
much. Biden judge. All of these.
He wasn't the fucking funny part is, I guess, not even funny. It's just the fucking, I guess, sad part. How ignorant this person is. He wasn't even protesting immigration. He was protesting the Gaza war.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. Are you that fucking stupid?
Yeah. And his university's response to it.
And this was because the State Department decided that they didn't like what he was doing, so they revoked his visa, his student visa. And he's a permanent resident. Are you serious? How fucking stupid are you?
Yep. That guy's as American as fucking apple pie. You know?
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, it's a big concern. So
oof. Never read the comments. Anyways, he's fired up and he's going to start fighting. He said the Trump administration picked the wrong guy, and I like that. So I'm excited to see what he's got next.
But just I guess like one thing is like, a lot of I'm happy for guys like Mahmoud Khalil being able to, having the courage to keep fighting, right? Because this is actually doing like a big chilling effect to a lot of people, right? Because, if permanent residents aren't safe either, it's,
nobody's fucking safe. They've been taking people just left and right.
Yeah.
So not, it doesn't matter if they're fucking legal residents, citizens, or actually legal.
As soon as they start getting through more brown people, they'll take white sympathizers.
Yeah,
they don't give a shit. It's all fucking fascist Gestapo, anyways. So Senator Mike Lee, you heard of this guy?
Yeah, that fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
He looks somewhere on my family tree.
No, you're way too handsome. This guy sucks. That's the long and short of it. He has...
The long and the short of it is he's a fucking shitbag. He's one of the biggest pieces of shit that I've seen in recent memory, and that's a pretty fucking big list.
Yeah. And so this guy, I don't want to put the tweet up because it's gross.
I think it's been deleted anyways because he was confronted about it by the other by I think I think it was like the representative from Minnesota.
Yep. And so
the long and short of it is that this fucking shitbag said that basically this is what happens when you're a Democrat. This is what it boils down to.
A picture of the security footage that police posted of Vance Bolter, the alleged killer of several Minnesotans and Minnesota lawmakers. And this is what happens when Democrats, whatever. Doesn't matter. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to play, but I won't, but you should go and watch. This is a plug. Go watch The Daily Show. They get 96% of it right. Right? Jon Stewart has done a great job fighting for the rights of 9/11 first responders and first responders in general. And he has a story about Mike Lee. So if you just go to YouTube and search Jon Stewart Mike Lee, that'd be great. And find out exactly what kind of piece of shit this asshole is. I actually signed a petition that was going around on Reddit. It was like, should we remove Mike Lee from office? And I'm like, yeah, that guy sucks. He's not a person. He shouldn't. The only thing he should be managing is like an ant race. And so it got 5,000 signatures in like 3 hours or something like that, which is about par.
Yeah, it's not nothing. So
no, not nothing. All right. Now we're here.
While this might look like a luxurious dish to you, soldiers in the military never want to see this meal. While a delicious dinner might seem like nothing but a festive meal, in the military, it has a completely different meaning.
It's not. It's fucking trash.
Of course it's trash. It's also like, they make it look good, but like, you gonna get diarrhea. Like, bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright. Go off, kids.
But we all know what it means.
I mean, what's the significance? I mean, I think we should feed our military nice food every so often. So why?
Yes, but there's certain like meals. I think actually, for me, it's never been lobster or crab. It's always been ice cream.
When they give you ice cream at the chow hall?
Yeah, on the fucking ship. Like they're like, we have lobster. They have like lobster or crab for like fucking burger burns or like steel beach picnics or something like that. But then like whenever it was actually time for the bad news to come out, then they would pull out ice cream.
Yeah, that sounds about right. For the Marines, it was always lobster and steak, and it would be like, I guess, the most mediocre cut of steak they could find that wasn't like leather. They'd be like, "Oh, this is what we'll feed him."
This is definitely not a boot. That's not a shoestring. That's just a flavor.
Boiling
nodule,
a boot in an oversized pot.
Essentially.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. We're not feeding the Marines shit out of the fucking trash can today.
Yay!
But it basically means bad news is coming, and we're trying to offset the bad news with fucking.
With
it's usually like
treat.
Yeah, Well, they give you a little treat, but also let you know that you're getting extended probably for 2 months or something.
However fucking long, so you can go do dumb shit.
I just love all the like newbies who are like the army's not so bad, and then they're like, baby girl, no.
Like I'm happy for you, and I'm gonna let you finish, but that's
not how that works.
That's not it.
But the problem is the longer you spend in service, like the more you see little bitty. It's not food, it's not that, but it's something else. It's like, I'm gonna let you guys grow your beards out this time, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Something happened. So I don't know what the fuck's about to happen, but something happened.
Something's bad. Somebody died.
Yeah, basically. Or it's like you're gonna. It's always you're about to get fucking. I'm gonna let you grow your beards out, but also we're gonna have to pull fucking port started watch, and everybody's gonna have.
I sent the link into our little
yes
group chat.
Yep.
Do me a favor, and I think we need to hear from JD Vance first, in case our viewers haven't seen the news or living under a fucking rock, which I'm proud of you for doing it that way.
Yeah. Let's make sure I got
we fucking.
This is the most blocked man on Blue Sky. Let's hear from the most blocked man on Blue Sky.
And joining me now is Vice President J.D. Vance. Vice President Vance, welcome back to.
And we really only need to listen to like the first 5 minutes of this, if that, to really get the message across.
Thank you for being here on a monumental Sunday. My first question, Mr. Vice President, is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, Kristen, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. And let me just say, Kristen, that we're incredibly grateful and proud of the American Air Force pilots who did an incredible job last night. The operation was really extraordinary. These guys flew from Missouri. They didn't land a single time. They dropped 30,000-pound bombs on a target the size of a washing machine, and then got back home safely without ever landing in the Middle East or ever stopping other than to briefly refuel. And of course, they did that in the air. So it's really an incredible operation, a testament to the power of American military. And I think what shows what can happen when you have that great American military in the hands of capable presidential leadership. What we did is we destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. I think we set that program back substantially, and we did it without endangering the lives of the American pilots. That's an incredible thing, and I think we all should be proud. Whatever our politics, we should be proud of what these guys accomplished.
Holy shit.
A very, very high-impact mission
I'm
under a lot of pressure.
Mr. Vice President, let's talk about what happens next. President Trump posted on social media.
All right, you can stop it right there.
Yeah, I'm so proud. That guy can. That's the problem with J.D. Vance. He can make really bad things sound palatable.
I mean, I guess they can sound palatable to you if you have a fucking IQ of like 6.
Yes, I'm putting in I'm looking at this from your average white voter and being like, oh, that sounds reasonable. Like, oh.
Yep, he's definitely the spin king, And
he's definitely the spin king. Because if you notice, when she asked the question if we're at war with Iran, he basically danced around the fucking question. Said that we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
If a customer
it's like I didn't shoot him, I shot his heart.
Exactly.
I returned fire, is what he said.
I returned fire preemptively.
Yep. Yeah. I like that. JD Vance sucks.
So, for some context, there were supposed to be negotiations going on between the U.S. and Iran for a fucking nuclear deal to stop their nuclear weapons program, which if you listen to fucking Tulsi Gabbard or whatever the fuck her name is, they haven't had according to her, they haven't had a nuclear weapons program since like what, 2013?
Yeah.
Or something.
Which is
actually it's really kind of closer to like 2003.
Yeah.
I mean, like
that was the number. That's the one. They haven't had anything since then. But yeah, take it away, Taylor.
So the reality of this is it's three separate issues trying to dance around basically as one. But you're just kind of seeing this particular part is just like the third piece in it. So you've got like the war between Israel and Iran. The shooting war that they've been in for the past like week or so, which is pretty much never going to evolve past that, and it only goes on for as long as both stockpiles consist, which is not forever. Because they're never going to invade each other. They live way too fucking far apart. But, like, there's just never actually going to be a significant land war going on between those two powers. It's just impossible. Which is why you have somebody like Benjamin Netanyahu who would just really love it if the United States gets involved in a major way against Iran. Which is its own separate issue because the United States and Iran already have plenty of reasons to be at conflict or nearly at conflict, and they have again for the past like 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, for a while.
Than that, because even if you took Israel out of the entire situation here, like the United States and Iran have a terrible history with each other since like the 1950s, since we installed the Shah.
Like we have so much common ground, and like because when
yes and no, we go ahead.
Because I feel like when Obama, like I don't want to like. I'm not trying to talk up Obama here because he bombed so many brown children too, but like he was like, all right, you're gonna go back on this stuff and I'm gonna undo the sanctions, and they were like, yep, and like that's,
right. So that's like the tiniest piece of it, right?
It
so
is.
Like
it's a small piece, but like it's a part to build from, in my opinion.
Well, no, and I'll explain how this all fits in, because
yeah.
this is the nuclear piece that always goes in, right? So we go and invade Iraq in 2003 based on this premise of weapons of mass destruction. Obviously, the history has told how that played out. But the point is, this piece, this nuclear piece, is that sort of like excuse to get into a war with Iran for everybody who wants to go to war with Iran, since basically the inception of the nuclear program there. Basically, like it is the excuse. Like, we liked the Shah. He was clearly overthrown by the Islamic Republic, right?
Yeah, we like the Shah because we put him in there.
Exactly. So like we tried our interventionist imperialist shit. It did not fucking work out. It got thrown back in our fucking face. We got mad about it. We've never liked it. But basically, since that regime has been in power, we have been looking for an excuse. Mike Huckabees and fucking Liz Cheney's of the world have always wanted this war. Always.
I'm gonna write even sans Israel. Fucking Mike Huckabee.
But yeah, so I mean, like, this has always been the case, and then you have the nuclear situation, which has always been this excuse in the back of everybody's mind of why we could go in and fight. But that did not work out.
It doesn't matter if they're genuinely trying to just engage in a nuclear energy program, or if they're building weapons of mass destruction. We don't care. We're just gonna go bomb them anyways.
And so
we've made this excuse for the longest fucking time that we could use it basically as a bargaining chip to get into this war of regime change, which is what they actually want to do.
So I do want to talk about this weapons of mass destruction and WMDs thing, because we do have some viewers who are younger that I know watch. And they were not alive in 2003 when we were.
So
go on.
Yeah, so we can if we can roll the clock back, what you had was this. There's a couple of really good books about it, but you essentially have what manufactured consent, which means that basically they got the entire media apparatus behind them. They got part of the intelligence community behind them to fabricate these reports about weapons of mass destruction, and the answer was not precision guidance weapons, which we had back then, and used in the Gulf War previously to great effect. And the answer was not what you've just seen in this last, with the B-2s. It was an entire full-scale invasion of Iraq, the toppling of Saddam Hussein, and yada, yada, yada. It involved a boots-on-the-ground full invasion of the country, which we hadn't even done in the Persian Gulf War to the same extent. So basically, like, this is what got the entire American apparatus behind. We said, we're going to go in, we're going to topple this guy, it's going to be quick. And legitimately, like, we did topple the Saddam Hussein government, like, fairly quickly. The Ba'athists were not in power.
Like, as far as military action goes, like, we did a pretty fucking good job.
Yeah, so they basically they accomplished what they promised, except for there were no weapons of mass destruction, basically, that anybody could find. In fact, all the reporting was that the more that the United States threatened, the more that, like, Saddam Hussein went absolutely crackpot crazy trying to find people in his administration who might have been making weapons of mass destruction behind his back, and tried to find and get rid of those people. Like, he was so paranoid that the Central Intelligence Agency would find, because what was happening was CIA was making up shit about, like, WMDs that they thought they had found, and Saddam Hussein was legitimately terrified that somebody without his knowledge was actually doing this in his country, and he, like, tried to go find them to stop it. So, like, this is how far away from the truth this was.
Yep.
But now we're in a completely different situation.
Power. Man, we did put Saddam Hussein in power back in the 80s. So
exactly.
Correct.
So I mean,
correct.
Good old fashioned. We also helped.
Good old fashioned American imperialism. Yep. We also helped Osama.
The only silver-ish, and I mean this in the most loosest fashion possible, is we did uncover a lot of crimes he committed against minority factions and things of that nature.
Sure. I mean, he was every ounce of evil.
He was every ounce of a dictator, but we put him in power, and we were cool with it until we weren't.
This is our fault.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
So what they're trying to do now is basically run the same playbook, except for, like, only half-assedly and pretendedly. Like, they have been saying consistently that Iran is not approaching a nuclear weapon, that they're very far away from a nuclear weapon. And if they tried to, which they, like, all reports are saying that they're not trying to. So intelligence this time is not even being blamed. It had been to be a case in the past where a lot of operations would happen or a lot of things would go on, and then whenever the fake intel that they had jargoned up with somebody had been proven incorrect, and then they would turn around and say, "Oh, well, it's the CIA or the intel community writ large that has lied to us, and that's why we did the wrong things. We have bad intel."
This time the president literally said, "I don't care what she says."
Exactly. So, I mean, like, this time you're not even blaming the intel community. This time they're just like, we don't care what the intel says. We're bombing this Esfahan site.
Can I ask a question?
And Porto, go ahead.
Do you think these rich guys just love to make a sale?
Which ones? You talking about, like, the arms dealers or
all of them? Like,
yeah,
Trump wants to make a sale. He wants to get a pitch on a sale, and, like, he loves The Apprentice because it's just a pitch. And so, like, Peter Thiel is like, yeah, I'm coming to you with, like, yeah, we need to make a database of all the humans. Like, give me $100 million to do that. And then, like, yeah. And then Benjamin Netanyahu's like, listen, man, I know this is what Tulsi Gabbard said, but what about this?
Well, it's again, like, you're having a lot of different, like, playbooks here. It's the not so silver lining, but I would at least say is, like, kind of a hopeful piece, is that, like, this was that card that somebody like Bibi Netanyahu was waiting for. I mean, you can go back to even before the first Iraq War and hear stories of Bibi Netanyahu coming to America and railing that Iran is 3 months away from a nuclear weapon.
Yep.
That's been a
30
thing
years
like
fucking later. Exactly. So 30 years later, they're still 3 months away from a nuclear weapon, and you're going to continue to hear this forever into the end of time.
That's why I'm thinking Trump just loves a sale. He finally bought somebody finally nibbled.
Yeah, but so what it is really is it's the same. To me, I would liken this to like the abortion issue, which is that, you know, Democrats are never going to codify abortion into law because then they can't use it to rail against the Republicans as this sort of thing where they're like, if Republicans get in power, then they'll get rid of abortion. And the Republicans like to play the opposite side of the playbook where they're like, we need to get in power so we can get rid of this abortion thing. And then now they've played that card. Yes. Like, actually, it's been played. It's on the field. It's on the stack. Like, somebody's going to do with it or not do with it. But if there's no responses, that card's done. Yeah. And so that's the kind of situation that we're in. I would, again, not the silver lining, because a lot of people are still going to die and get hurt in the process.
Because real people's lives are affected, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, if Iran does not respond in a major way that causes the United States to go up the escalation ladder, then they don't ever get to come back and say, I mean, it's going to take them years and years and years to get back to a point where they can come back and say, we need to do another strike against Iran because they're getting nuclear weapons again. Like, the card's played.
Right.
So you can't be like, now you need to invade Iran for this other fucking reason.
Wait,
they're going to have to gin that up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the point is, like, we are in a place where if there's no major response, then, you know, if the Carl Vinson and the other carrier strike group, I forget which all ones is out there.
The Ford is over there.
But
yeah, but there was one of them that was actually supposed to be there, and the other two were like called in for just in case. If those other two strike groups go away, if the sort of escalation ladder goes down, and also if Iran just keeps, you know, hammering Israel instead of, you know, giving a shit about what the U.S. is doing, then, like, Israel is going to continue to take casualties. The Israeli people are going to continue to get mad with Bibi Netanyahu, like, more so than they already are. And, like, there's going to be no more cards to play, really, to try to get the United States involved in a broader conflict with Iran. I mean, we're going to probably continue to do the same level of interactions that we've had. We may strike a few more sites, but, like, and continue to try to shoot down ballistic missiles. But the other thing people need to understand is that, you know, I said this earlier about, like, stockpiles, is yes, Iran will run out of its, you know, stockpile of missiles and drones and stuff, which can slowly but surely be replaced.
They've been giving a lot
but
to
so
Russia
too will
and stuff too, so
yeah, but not as many as you would have thought. Not as many as they would have had Russia not gotten involved in Ukraine, is what I would say.
Right.
So that's kind of happening, but not to the extent that, I mean, Russia can't just keep on handing them shit.
Right.
But at the same time, so too does the Iron Dome run out of defenses. It has to be more selective about the stuff that it can shoot down, as long as these overwhelming barrages keep coming in. And then more civilian targets are going to get hit. And look, I mean, the biggest loser in all of this is the people of both Iran and Israel. Like, those are the people who are going to die. It's the civilians, by and large.
When I always say, like, we have more in common than we don't, that's who I mean. Like,
for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And I would say that with the people of Israel and with the people of Iran.
Yes,
like, we have way more in common with those people than we do ever with
I will never
Bibi Netanyahu.
say I have a problem with the people of Israel or Israel at large. I have a problem with fucking Bibi and his authoritarian government and how he does to the media what we do to the media.
Yeah. Now, and I should be clear here. Like, not only is the Ayatollah and his regime not popular in Iran.
No.
Like, they want to get rid of that. It's just that, you know, the longer this kind of conflict goes on, the longer that, like, or the more likely it is that a more hawkish, more aggressive leadership gets involved and becomes the new leadership of Iran.
So,
and
yeah, realistically, that's probably what our government wants, anyways, because you can't make an enemy out of a country that doesn't really want to do anything against you.
Yeah. So, and then there's the other thing. Go ahead.
I'm a big proponent of, like, another Muslim Spring. Let's go. Like, come on. Like, we can do it again as a world. Let's go.
Sorry, what's a Muslim Spring?
So,
it's usually summer over there. So can you help me out?
Do you mean like an Arab Spring?
Like, yeah, the whole Arab Spring. Islam.
Yeah, for younger viewers, what is an Arab Spring?
I'm gonna bring up the Wikipedia definition.
And then I think the other
Spring
thing you need
was
to
a series of pro-democracy, anti-government protest uprising, and, well, I'm not for armed rebellions, but that spread across the Arab world in the 2010s. Began in Tunisia in response to the corruption and economic stagnation, which is, so people don't realize this, but, like, stagflation is worse than inflation or, you know, deflation and all that kind of stuff. Stagflation is worse, which is why it probably led to that. But it's literally time for all of us poor people to be like, yep, we stand together.
Well, yeah, and then the thing about the Arab Spring you have to kind of remember is that doesn't necessarily apply to the Persians. It was very much an Arab thing.
It was.
And unfortunately, they're just not going to have the whatever spring together. The peace spring, I guess, or I don't really know how that would
Yeah.
conflict. I wish though. I do wish they
It's
would like get rid
time.
of both Khomeini and I don't know how they would even get a coalition together, and I mean, because it kind of goes back to the same problem. They live too far apart. I don't just mean that in distance, like the people are.
And you're right, and that's the thing is like you talked about the boots on the ground thing, and I'm like, it's never gonna happen. Like all these like fucking draft memes and stuff like that. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. They're not even gonna have fucking IDF over there. It's fine. So
yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, I think, because we have to also look at. What are the people, I guess, in Indonesia, how they support things, right? Because Netanyahu stays in power because he knows, how to manipulate these things, right? This is his bread and butter is, rile up the war, the...
Rattle the sword.
Yeah, rattle the sword.
Yep.
And I guess, if you're going to like such a major revolution, which would be, great, but also, it's going to still hurt a lot of people either way, right? So,
it's
like,
again, all of the poor people will die and pay for it.
Yes, for sure.
So, like, in this case, I actually have here. I just had to look up Arab Spring and look at what countries were affected, right? So
dozens.
It's dozens,
Yeah.
And some of them governments overthrown. So I'm looking here. It's crap. What's it? Let's see, 102. Yeah, about 102 have been overthrown overall. So that was what the heck is this little black country here? Sorry, on the screen is black, not
I think that's actually Tunisia.
Is that Tunisia?
It looks like it might be Tunisia.
Tunisia.
And this is the one, the Sinai Peninsula here, right? Is that one there? So that's
I think that's Egypt.
That's Egypt. Yeah.
Egypt. Okay, yeah. So thank you. Yep, Tunisia
So
was
the thing
overthrown.
about the other thing about that I guess people also need to understand is this happens, but also those countries are not in any case in a great standing.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not stable yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even before sans even an Arab Spring, as it were, like that's just the match that lights the what do you call it, the keg,
They
right, like the powder keg.
support
It's already
system.
a problem.
Right, correct. I don't want to harp on like MLK and stuff like that, but he always talks about we all live in a world house. We're all neighbors in this world house. We all need to pick each other up. And so we all need to support this actual pro-democracy. But we need reform here, they need reform there. We got a long way to go.
Well, so what I would say is that, back to my earlier point, again, not a great silver lining, but like just as much as the missiles and missile defense systems that fly over and cause damage are running out, so too are all of the political cards to play by pretty much every administration involved.
Right.
I mean, I won't it's not a great thing, all of the adventurism that we've done in the Middle East. I personally don't feel, but like the reality is that, it is a better and safer place that, Hamas and Hezbollah and organizations like that are like sort of losing their support from Iran. It's a good thing probably that Iran is losing a lot of its command structure, because like those were people who wanted to start wars in other countries through proxies. Like that is a thing that they were doing. Like these were not good people.
Never a good thing.
Yeah.
Ever.
So the fact that these terrible people are fighting each other, like there is a kind of, personally I see it as like it's Godzilla fighting the other fucking monster, except for Godzilla was cool. I don't know. G-Man has my respect, so I can't really bring him into this. But my point is that I'm sitting there being like, let them fight. Like, good. Yeah. I'm glad that these people who are just out for blood are going out for other people who are just out for blood, and then they're killing each other.
The people who want violence are getting violence from the people who want violence, and let them weed each other out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really terrible that a lot of civilian life has to be lost, in pursuit of that. But what I would say is that I think as we get farther in this, if the United States doesn't get involved in a big like invade Iran kind of way, which I have no idea. I really just can't speak to speculation on that. But if the escalation ladder, as long as the escalation ladder doesn't get climbed, like all of the pieces and all of the fuel that kept this, because there were a bunch of things always, like, whenever the fighting broke out in Gaza for the first like very long time, there was no speculation at the beginning that Hezbollah would ever get involved, and then Hezbollah did get involved, and then Hezbollah got wiped out, and then it's the same thing with Iran. There was these back and forth. Iran was firing, basically it's like V2 garbage. It's like very cheap ballistic missiles at Israel because it's like their old stockpile anyway. They were going to go bad if they didn't get fucking fired.
Right.
So like Iran's just throwing its garbage at Israel back in, and this tit for tat kind of goes back and forth, and we spend,
even their quote unquote hypersonic missile.
Yeah, which anyway, whole different thing. But my my point is that like there's always these things that you'll hear people talk about, especially in the media, and this is why I wanted to say this, because I feel like you're going to see a lot of like mainstream media especially trying to steer people extremely wrong with this, is that there's always this thing that's like, well, you never know what happens if these guys get involved. Well, you never know what happens if these guys get involved. Well, we've flipped over that Rolodex at this point. Like, we've gotten rid of a lot of like terrorist organizations, and in the meantime, Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli regime as it is has also spent all of its political capital. They're now hurting because the world is turning away from them because of what's happening in Gaza. So like they're losing economic, like they're just throwing away their economic like advantages that they had because the world's banks are turning away from them, organizations are turning away from Israel. And then they're blowing all their political capital that they had with the United States. AIPAC is going to be watched like a hawk for the next few election cycles, I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, I'm not saying we're winning, but I am saying that, like, all of the terrible, vile people who were, like, trying to get the biggest, most terrible war to happen in the Middle East just for their political gain, they've used all their cards now. So, like, it's going to take them, in a good day, it will take them a while to recoup them, but best case scenario, the Netanyahu regime runs out of steam, and because the other thing is he's up for like corruption charges and shit like that. Like, yeah. He's a part of the reason he starts this whole conflict allegedly is because like he would go to jail if there's no war, because he's this corrupt leader by Israeli law.
Weird.
Like, he's just
it's
illegal.
almost like him and Donald Trump have so much in common. Like, it's if Donald Trump
Yeah.
was a president, he'd be sentenced to some crimes or something.
Probably. And so that's, I think, like, he's run out all of his political will, and like ICE has run out all of its political cachet.
And its actual money.
MAGA's running all of its political cachet and its money. Yeah, they can't collect the fucking tariffs because they fired all the people who did it. So like everybody who is like running insidious, terrible playbooks is getting exactly what they deserve, because they like, these things aren't just insidious because they're bad for, America and they're like morally wrong. They're also like not functionally like passable. Like, you can't run this playbook forever. It just legitimately actually does not work. And this is what you're kind of
or logistically.
Yeah. So in the longer scale, this kind of like nasty playbook of like trying to get America involved in a bigger war, trying to bomb, like use this nuclear threat like excuse, like all of these sorts of things are just kind of run their course. Now, obviously, there's still terrible things. Like, we're running a very high hazard risk of, like I said, running the escalation ladder, having a major full-scale war with Iran, which would be just like... That's another thing, is that like what's going on in Israel looks like it does because we were talking about weapon systems that are at the greatest extent of Iranian range. Like, they're having to use medium-range ballistic missiles and things like that. They don't have to do that for a lot of American bases, which are like right off their shoreline.
Right.
Like, they have way more munitions. Like, almost probably like 100 times more munitions that they could use against bases in like Israel or not Israel, Bahrain and UAE. Like, those are right off the Iranian coastline. Like, they can walk out their front porch and shoot at us. Like, it is not hard for them. It is not at all like Israel. So I just want people to understand, like, if that does happen, like, Iran has the capability to like go up that escalation ladder, and for sure, if this comes to a major conflict, they're going to be eradicated, and all of their major military infrastructure will be wiped out, but not without major loss of American life.
Right.
Yeah, and it's going to turn into a prolonged conflict because of the same shit you saw in Afghanistan and Iraq with people running guerrilla warfare and in and out of population centers in the mountains, especially in the mountains.
Yeah.
You're gonna have
Yeah,
people
but
doing hit and run shit. We have a shitty record of going into the Middle East, and we quote unquote won in Iraq, but in Afghanistan, I mean, what did we do except just continuously man bases for however long, and then we pulled out.
Yep, we fought the Taliban for 20 years, and then Taliban won. So
what's crazy?
And I should just clarify that what I'm talking about for the major loss of American life is not any of that. It's before all of that.
That's not including any of that.
Before we set a single fucking boot on the ground of Iran, we will lose a lot of American lives just getting.
Yep.
And what's crazy is a lot of studies have been done by the military in the interim about to do combat in these weird terrain zones. Like, we could do it, but we need to get rid of some status quo stuff and spend a little bit of money, so they'll never fucking do it. They're not gonna equip Pete Hegseth doesn't actually care about warfighters. He's nah, you'll figure it out. I'm not gonna give you the right plates or the right gun with the right ammunition.
Yeah, well, that's also been the story of military acquisition.
The military in general.
50 years. But I mean, you can ask people in
Iraq
with Woodland Green mop gear, but
fucking A. Holy shit.
Fucking A for sure. But so that's what what I do want to sort of try to leave people with is the idea that there is this does run into an end where the fighting just cannot continue at the height that it is. Even when I'm saying the loss of American life, once you talk about destroying, the Iranian Navy, the Iranian coastal defense system, the Iranian surface-to-air, air defense system, there's a punctuation on that, right? And so when we talk about going into a country and invading it, and if you have fight guerrilla warfare in mountains of Iran, that's it's going to be 16 Afghanistans on top of each other bad, but. It only ever is that. It never goes above that ever again. And not great.
No.
Still terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. But what I'm saying is there is, I think, I hear a lot from mainstream media where they talk about that they were this close from a nuclear weapon or this far away from a nuclear weapon, and obviously that's not true. But there's a lot of fear mongering as well, and I want people to understand that there is. We're getting to the end of all of the major actors who could do anything terrible in the Middle East. We're kind of flipping over that Rolodex pretty quickly. That's kind of it after this.
Yeah.
Unless Pakistan and India starts a war, that's what I'm saying. We're in a place where this is pretty much But so we are running to a place where it is coming to an end, to the point where Israel's not really going to be able to effectuate much more harm on Iran and vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
thank God.
At least there is that.
Thank God. And you got to tell people, it could take 8 years, it could take 18 years, it could take 8 months. You don't know. Be patient. Shit sucks right now for the world. Let's make it better.
And remember, our president was supposed to be
the peace
campaigning
president.
No war.
Yeah,
the peace
wars.
president. No wars.
Yep, no wars, no new wars. Yep,
Brought
that's
to you
right.
by Coinbase. Let's do some more stories.
Okay.
I have a North Dakota story here that's sad. So we had some bad storms roll through here. There has been a lot of damage, a lot of property damage, and we had the loss of life of 3 people out near Cass County, which is Fargo, Moorhead, that area. And a passerby spotted 2 bodies, and deputies spotted another away. But I'm really thankful that we had nothing here where I'm at, and some people even not that far from me were like, oh my God, my power was out forever. Everything. So thank you to whoever protected my home and allowed me to be there. We'll be collecting donations for the affected at Parallax Games. any tips
Do they?
that you give us will be going to those families.
Do they usually have tornadoes that far north? I mean, how common is that for you guys?
There's tornadoes in every country, every state.
It's pretty common. Like,
Like, is it every season kind of deal, or?
Yeah, I mean, every summer we get
Okay.
touchdowns, and like, usually it's like, some structures got fucked up and a cow got thrown, but like, we don't usually have fatalities and stuff, so
Gotcha.
it's pretty bad.
Yep, those pretty nasty derechos instead of izquierdas. So
Yes,
it's pretty awful. Yeah.
So I was gonna do a plug for them, and I'm gonna do it now. This is Ground News, ground.news. Put it in your browser, ground.news. I paid them money for their baseline subscription. Paid news is better. I hate it. It's bad, but you should do it. They're not a sponsor. I really like their stuff. They're really fair and actually balanced. If you can see on the website, they have a biased distribution to show you, like, is it left-leaning? Is it right-leaning? Is it centerist? Like, what's happening?
Yep,
It's
blind
great.
spot's my favorite feature. So
Yes.
definitely. Yep.
Yes. So, subscribe to Ground News. They do great. If you didn't know, Senator Alex Padilla, was arrested. We talked about this a little last week. While trying to ask questions it was Kristi Noem at a press briefing, right?
Yep.
Yep. So he was taken into custody for no fucking reason because he had brown skin. He's a fucking sitting U.S. senator. And J.D. Vance called him Jose, which is racist as fuck for all my white people out there. If you didn't know, that's racist as fuck. Can't just call a Latino person Jose. It's like...
Yeah, it's kind of like calling all white people Justin.
No, that's okay. You're allowed to do that.
Or, you know, I mean, it's just misnaming people, and it's just, you know, it's pretty bad. This guy's, you know, both JD Vances are pieces of shit, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Wait, there's another JD Vance?
There was another JD Vance.
Oh,
It's okay.
right. It was like on Instagram or TikTok or something.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, and he was also a piece of shit. So, cool. I'm super cool that my initials are JD, and that's how I wish people referred to me.
Nothing bad will happen.
This whole thing, so if you haven't been up on... You should go to a protest. The next No Kings rally stuff is on, I think it's July 17th.
July 17th is what it said.
July 19th.
Oh, 19?
19th. It's a
19th.
Saturday. It's a Saturday. Go to it. Go to a protest. You don't have to do anything. You just go there and hang out. That's the best part. One of my biggest complaints about the protests around here is, like, not as much as just going on. Like, maybe we should have somebody doing something, some live music, some food trucks. I'm legitimately thinking about bringing a couple of tables and running some drafts at the fucking protest. What do you think?
We should do that here.
I will take my truck, the tables, my signs, and everything, and I will drive down to Florida.
I just say bring the bulk and bring some Sharpies. Run a Sharpie draft cube, so you're not wasting money. Don't waste. I mean.
No, I got plenty of boxes. We'll do like an Aether Drift draft or something like that.
Yeah, some of the leftover Aether Drift doesn't sell. It's fine.
I love Aether Drift. That set's good. It's an artifact set. It's Brothers War is here. Aether Drift is here, guys. It's so.
But yeah,
good.
sorry. All right, so going back. So okay, so the No Kings rally, we actually had, I guess, like somebody get shot, right, over there, or.
So this is a whole boondoggle, and I'm not going to play the video because it's hard to watch. But what ended up happening is a protester brought an AR-15 with them to the protest, which is his right. he acted appropriately. There was another guy there who was like a volunteer safety guy who had a pistol on him, and he was also acting appropriately. And he saw the guy with the rifle, and he opened fire. And now he hit the guy with the rifle. He didn't kill him, which is good, thank God. But he did hit several other people and killed one.
He killed a bystander.
Yeah, he killed a bystander. And he technically didn't do anything illegal. And now the problem, there are a lot of problems here is the real answer. The fellow with the rifle was the one who was detained and put in jail because he was brown, to be totally honest. And none of these people are going to face legal consequences, probably. And I'm not sure how to feel about that personally. That's a personal thing, because there's literally, like, I talked about The Daily Show, and I think they get it right about 95% of the time, but Jon Stewart brought up a good point. He's like, if neither of these people had a gun, this wouldn't have happened. And he's right. And I'm a big proponent of, like, carry deep. Like, somebody really smart taught me early on when I was a cop. Like, you have a gun, and you know how to use it. That doesn't mean you should always use it. And he straight up said, it's like, you need to be a pussy with a gun. Like, there's no reason to fight. Like, don't get into a fight. It's stupid. Like, if you want to fight somebody, like, tell them to come to the dojo you do fucking Taibo in or whatever. And he was right. But the fact of the matter is, we as a society could make it a place where we didn't need guns here. But we didn't. I don't know. That's my personal opinion. This whole thing sucks. And I don't know what to think.
It's a tough one to comment on, because, you know, it's definitely, it sucks for everybody involved. And, you know, people just didn't bring the guns. They probably, you know, like, I understand people wanting to bring guns, try to feel safe, and people trying to protect other people and stuff, but this is...
I'm going to tell you my personal philosophy, and I am not the benchmark, but one, I'm not afraid to die, because I don't think anybody should be. And that might be a religious thing or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen eventually. Prepare for it now and just be at peace with it. Because if you can do that, the rest of your life is going to be a lot easier. That's all I'm saying. So, just, if you're going to carry a weapon and be ready to use a weapon, you should be ready to use all of the other tools in your arsenal. And those are the tools...
Before that.
Say again?
Before then.
Before then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And those are the tools you should be most practiced with, is what I was going on to say. This thing, your mouth, talk to people. Think. Most people don't want violence. Most people don't want to get hurt. Approach subjects from that manner. I don't know. All right. I will probably... If people are interested in me wanting to go over this more, I will. It's gross. It gives me a headache. I don't want to. North Carolina? I've heard of them. Who lives there?
I don't know.
The Doge. This one. Right there. Oh, yeah,
You mean that one?
Get in there nice and deep like. Get in there nice and deep like. Yeah.
That's a good scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, look at that.
Long one.
Ooh, look at that. There's another dog there. Oh.
Yeah, he's got two dogs.
He heard me. Shh. All right. Shh. No.
Those are the gremlins.
Hell yeah. So North Carolina governor showing his true colors right here. They don't give a shit about your rights. They don't give. See, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about gun laws. is that they don't care about actual freedom. They want to make you think you're free.
Yeah.
So, ugh. This guy
So the what do you mean he sucks? This is
Oh, these are vetoes. Sorry, these are vetoes.
These are vetoes. Yes.
Vetoes.
He vetoed the concealed carry being able to concealed carry without a permit.
Yeah.
And he vetoed the ability, or rather, he vetoed a bill for immigration to
Work with
no, not for immigration, for like local police departments and sheriff's offices to work with ICE.
Correct.
Which is great.
Which is
Honestly, I
good.
feel like a lot of
these are good things.
Right.
So
I honestly feel like that's a lot of thing that's kind of getting. I mean, this always comes around in every election cycle with something, but you never know what it's going to be with. But the separation between like state and local power and this sort of like Rochambeau that ICE wants to be a bunch of fuckheads and they expect that every local municipality is just going to fall in line.
Yeah.
I always like that there's contention. I always
Yeah.
love that these states are like, you
That's
can't come
how
to
it
my
should
fucking
be.
house and do this shit.
Like,
Yeah.
I hate these people like, don't put politics in this. I'm like, I hate to tell you, motherfucker, but all this is political. I held up to my business partner the other day. It was the like color pie chart for Magic the Gathering. And I said, motherfuckers will have this memorized, but they won't know how their local government works.
Yep,
It's true.
right.
It's true. Alrighty. Plastic bags, Tommy. Let's hear it.
Nah, it's okay. Anyways, with the plastic bag bans, okay, long and short, a lot of places have been doing plastic bag bans, and they're seeing a reduction of plastic bags in the ocean when they're picking up the trash.
We all have
the percentage of trash.
microplastics in our blood. We all have.
Mm-hmm.
We are more processed food and microplastics than we are human. So just keep that in mind.
It's all right. Grandpa had, the black lung. My father has asbestos poisoning, and I will have plastic bags in my brain. It's fine.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, so this is just a little thing. Just saying is, we can actually make some different. I mean, I can go on a tirade of how recycling is a scam, but we're not going to get into that right now.
Oh man. So I want to do a paramilitary show, but you and I should do a recycling show. God damn. I have thoughts and feelings. All right.
The modern, yep.
It's bad. It's not actually good. If you put a plastic bag in there, it's all fucked.
Yeah, it's rough.
All right.
For sure.
All right. We have been Crying is a Free Action, a podcast that I'm trying to wrap up right now. Thank you for being here. Taylor, thank you for being here.
Absolutely, I'm glad to be here.
You are welcome
anytime.
here anytime, by the way. You are welcome to be here every Sunday, and I want to say that publicly. But thank you, Al.
I'll at least try to watch every Sunday. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Thank you, Al and Tommy, for also being here. We have already decided, I think we're going to play some Dune after this, boys.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to run to the store, so I'll probably.
No, yeah, we're gonna actually just cut. Then we'll go live again a little later. So
Okay.
Instead of discussing that now, we're just gonna cut. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.